Prabhuji, the Vaishnav bhajan which I have taken for today's Kirtan is Kali Kukara Kadana. It is a bhajan which has been written by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It talks about, the different pastimes which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he did, and which all those pastimes which has been mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrit. So, yeah. Kali Kukura Kadanyadi chao he Kali Kukura Kadanyadi chao he Kali Kukura Kadanyadi chao he कलियुग पावन कलि भय नाशन श्री सचिनंदन गाओ हे कलियुग पावन कलि भय नाशन श्री सचिनंदन गाओ हे गदाधर मादन नितायर प्राण धन अद्वैतेर प्रपूजित गोरा गदाधर मादन नितायर प्राण धन अद्वैतेर प्रपूजित गोरा निमाय विशंभर श्रीनिवासेश्वर भक्त समूह चित्त चोरा निमाय विशंभर श्रीनिवासेश्वर भक्त समूह चित्त चोरा नादिया शाशीधर मायापुरीश्वर नाम प्रवर्तन सूरा नादिया शशिधर मायापुरीश्वर नाम प्रवर्तन सूरा ग्रहजन शिक्षक न्यासिकुल नायक माधव राधा भाव पूरा गृहजन शिक्षक न्यासिकुल नायक माधव राधा भाव पूरा सर्वभौम शोधन गजपति तारन रामानंद पोषण वीरा सर्वभौम शोधन गजपति तारन रामानंद पोषण वीरा रूपानंद वर्धन सनातन पालन हरिदास मोदन धीरा रूपानंद वर्धन सनातन पालन हरिदास मोदन धीरा व्रज रस भावन दुष्टात्मा सातन कपटि विघटन काम व्रजरस भावन दुष्टात्मा शातन कपटि विघटन काम शुद्ध भक्त पालन शुष्क ज्ञान साधन चल भक्ति दूषण रामा शुद्ध भक्त पालन शुष्क ज्ञान साधन चल भक्त दूषण रामा गौर हरि जय गौर हरि गौर हरि जय गौर हरि जय गौर हरि गौर हरि गौर हरि जय गौर हरि मायापुरवासी गौर हरि नादिया बिहारी गौर हरि जय गौर हरि गौर हरि गौर हरि जय गौर हरि जय नित्यानंद Nityananda Ram, Nityananda Ram, Jaya Nityananda Ram, Jaya Mayapura Dham, Mayapura Dham, Jaya Mayapura Dham, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji, do
Krishna.
you want me to read its translation?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Please do.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, it says, if you want to be rid of the influence of dog-like personality of Kali, then just sing the glories of beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is the savior of Kali Yuga, and he is Bhayanashan, the destroyer of all fear caused by the age of quarrel. He maddens Sri Gadadhar with his name. He is the treasure of life of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Nitaira Pranadhan, and he is the most worshipable object of Sri Advaita Charya. He is affectionately named Nimai by his mother due to being born under a neem tree. And he has named Vishambhar, and he has been named Vishambhar by his grandfather. He is the only lord of Sri. He is the only lord of Sri Srivas, and he steals the hearts of all assembled devotees. Lord Chaitanya is the moon over Nadia, the lord of Sri Mayapur Dham, and the divine propagator of his own name, Nam Pravartana Sura. He is the instructor of family man, and he is also the hero of those who are in the renounced order. He is the husband of goddess of fortune, and he is overflowing with the ecstatic moods and sentiments of Srimati Radharani, Radha Bhav Pura. Lord Chaitanya is the corrector and purifier of Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya and the deliverer of King Prataparudra, the source of nourishment of Srila Ramananda Rai, and he is a great hero. He increases the ecstasy of Srila Rupa Goswami. He is the maintainer and protector of Srila Sanatan Goswami. He gladdens Haridas Thakur, and he is very grave. Lord Chaitanya is the source of all transcendental mellows of Brajadham. He is the destroyer of all mischievous and wicked mentality, Dusht Mata Shatana, and he dissolves the mundane lust of deceitful, insincere souls by his causeless mercy. He maintains and protects his pure Vaishnav devotees, and he chastises dry speculative knowledge. He destroys pretentious and hypocritical devotion, Chala Bhakti Dushana, and he is the reservoir of pleasure. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Hare. Thank you so much, Aditya Prabhu. I don't hear you singing often, but very beautiful singing, Prabhu, and a very nice, gentle kirtan. There you go. And we'll be reading from 118:21 today, Srimad Bhagavatam. And a very young devotee, Tarini Kishori Mataji, would be sharing her realizations on this verse. Before that, Josna Mataji would like to read the verse and the translation. So
Yes, Prabhu.
one of you could kindly share your screen.
Wait, Prabhu.
So who's going to share the screen? We want to see the verse on the screen, verse and the translation. Database.
It's 1821, na Prabhu?
Yes. Josna Mataji, you're trying to share or?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You okay.
I'm not able to share it, Prabhu. Wait. From mobile, I'm doing it.
Mataji, I can share if you want.
Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Today's verse, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 21. It is a prayers by Queen Kunti. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudev, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavana, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Purport. The Lord, being thus unapproachable by any material assets, out of unbounded and causeless mercy, descends on the earth as He is in order to show His special mercy upon His unalloyed devotees and to diminish the upsurges of the demoniac person. Queen Kunti specifically adores the incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations because in this particular incarnation he is more approachable. In the Rama incarnation, he remained a king's son from his very childhood. But in the incarnation of a Krishna, although he was a son of a king, he at once left the shelter of his real father and mother, King Vasudev and Queen Devaki, just after his appearance and went to the lap of Yashodamai to play the part of an ordinary cowherd boy in the blessed Vrajabhumi, which is very sanctified because of his childhood pastimes. Therefore, Lord Krishna is more merciful than Lord Rama. He was undoubtedly very kind to Kunti's brother Vasudev and the family. Had he not become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, Queen Kunti could not claim him to be her nephew and thus address Krishna in parental affection. But Nanda and Yashoda are more fortunate because they could relish the Lord's childhood pastimes, which are more attractive than all other pastimes. There is no parallel to his childhood pastimes has exhibited Vrajabhumi, which are the prototypes of his eternal affairs in the original Krishna Loka, described as a Chintamani Dhama in the Brahma Samhita. Lord Sri Krishna descended himself at Vrajabhumi with all his transcendental entourage and paraphernalia. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Vrajabhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls, who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of Lord. His pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda, and his pastimes with the cowherd men, and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows, have caused him to be known as Govinda. Lord Krishna as Govinda is more inclined to the Brahmanas and the cows, indicating thereby that human prosperity depends more on these two items, namely Brahminical culture and cow protection. Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these are lacking. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Tarini Mataji, would you like to take over?
Hi Krishna Ramaji, thank you very much. So I'm sharing the realizations, I think. I don't have that many. I'm very, very young compared to like all of you guys. I've just recently gotten everything. So I'll just start. Should I say the Omagyan and everything? I don't know how this works exactly.
Okay, so what we do is like for 30 minutes, the speaker is given time for 30 minutes to reflect over the verse. Okay, like, and then, so it is 8:36 now, so you can go up to 9 o'clock, and then we'll have like 5-minute brief discussion, and then we will move to the next reading. All right.
Okay, Roshi.
Thank you.
I'll just share my screen. Okay. So, should I be saying the Om Namo Bhagavate? I'll say it, I guess. Om Namo Bhagavate
Yes.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ज्ञानस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणः रघुनाथान्तां तं सजीवं सागरितं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ओम श्रीमदे कृष्ण साईं श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी अने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे शिष्य शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य शतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे thank you for this opportunity and please forgive me if I make a mistake, which I probably will make here and there. So I summarized the purport in 6 points, I think. So I'll just start. The first point is the Lord is unapproachable by material means. Krishna cannot be approached by wealth, power, or material qualifications. He descends only out of causeless mercy to bless his devotees and curb the demoniac. So recently it was Gundicha Marjanam, right? And the story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the king was there, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to meet King Prataprudra because he was a king and he didn't want to associate with that. But out of he was very merciful and after all the devotees spoke very nice of Prataprudra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to give his cloth, and then King Prataprudra came and sang the Gopi to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Vesha of a Vaishnava. So he cannot be approached by wealth, power, or qualifications. That's one of the points, one of the things I realized. Krishna is the most merciful incarnation. So in the previous verse, Prabhupada says in the purport, he is knowable only by one who has his mercy. And Krishna, again in this purport, it says Ram, he's very he was in royal area, but Krishna lived among the cowherds. He took birth in he was a king, and then he came to Yashoda Mai and to enjoy those pastimes. And Queen Kunti especially glorifies Krishna's incarnation. The third point is Krishna's unique Vrindavan pastimes. Though born to Devaki and Vasudeva, he chose Yashoda and Nanda to enjoy sweet childhood pastimes, and therefore Vrajabhumi is considered sanctified. Krishna's Vajalila reflects his eternal form. His Vrindavan pastimes are replicas of his eternal activities in Golok. So all the pastimes that we read about, like in the Krishna book and everything, they actually happen, and that is very wonderfully given in Brihad Bhagavatam. When Gopakumar reaches Golok Vrindavan, he gets to experience those pastimes, and he sees that they're like the same pastimes, just transcendental, even more transcendental, I don't know. And then described in Brahma Samhita's Chintamani Dhama of wish, fulfilling realm. Of course, those wishes are just purely for the pleasure of Krishna. Point 5 is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's confirmation. So Mahaprabhu taught that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Vrindavan, especially the gopis. Then point 6 is the name Govinda, protector and pleaser of the cow's senses. Krishna's intimate dealings with the cows and cowherd boys gives him this name. It shows his affection for cows and brahmanas, essential from human prosperity. The pillars, Brahmanical culture and cow protection uphold dharma and spiritual progress. And when it is lacking, Krishna doesn't enjoy it there. I think Gurudev, in one of his lectures, he was saying that cows are so sacred that every time you see a cow, you should bow down to it. It was in his Stimulation for Ecstatic Love lecture, I think. So that this is personalism by Prabhupada. So I was searching, because when I think about this shloka, I usually think, oh, just Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nanda. She's glorifying. And before I really read into it, I was just like, okay, yeah, names of Krishna, different things. I didn't really understand it at all. But then I read I went to prabhupadvani.com and org, and I saw what Prabhupada says about this. And so he says, in the beginning, Kuntadevi says, Namasya Purusham Tvadyam, Ishvaram Prakrite Param. I offer my obeisances unto the person, Purusham, who is Prakrite Param. So she's pointing out that Krishna is a person. He is not impersonal. This is clearly, it goes against the Mayavadi philosophy. Like Krishna has an identification. Krishna Vasudevaya, father's name, Devaki Nandanaya, mother's name, and Nanda Gopakumaraya, like his where he is. There's an identification of a person. Prabhupada then says, we are not in person, is vague idea. No, everything is complete. So if you take advantage of this, we are benefited. So I was also hearing a lecture by Ramachandra Prabhu, and he said that Krishna loves, his devotees very, very much. So when you relate him with his devotees, he's even more pleased. So here Prabhupada actually says that in his New York lecture, I forgot the exact date, but Prabhupada says he likes to be related with his devotees as mother and father. Here in the material world, we try to make a relationship with the Supreme as father, but Krishna wants to become the son. Therefore, Nanda Gopya, he takes pleasure to become a devotee's son. most people, they want God as their father, like, you give me this, you give me that. And I'm also making a lot of like prayers to Krishna. Krishna, let me get good grades, let me understand like how to study better and get good marks in Bhakti Shastri and everything. But the point is how to please Krishna. And there I kind of thought, it connected to Anukulina Krishna Shilanam Bhaktirittamam. So I just recently finished my NOD. So I was like, just my CBA just finished today. Like, no, not today, 2 days ago. And so I was like, this is really great. And he said how to please Krishna. So bhakti consists of serving Krishna favorably as he desires. So our main focus should always be how to please Krishna. That's and Krishna is always pleased when we please his devotees. So this is one of my points. And then Kunti Devi is glorifying the Lord and serving him this way. And another point from Nectar of Devotion is 1.1.12. Nectar Devotion is Seva Mukhehi Jivado, service beginning by using the tongue to chant. And Kunti Devi is such a prime example of this because she's glorifying the Krishna and like Krishna in such a beautiful way. She's really showing her love for Krishna and really understands him. And I have a small thing that I asked a question to Gaurang Prabhu when I was in the camp in GEV, and I asked him, I really like doing Prajalpa because I'm a girl and I'm young, and it's kind of my nature, and how I can overcome this. And he said, the more of Krishna Katha you do, the tendency or the desire to commit Prajalpa will automatically decrease. So I found that very nice, and I felt like that really connected to this because the more you chant, the more you render service by using your tongue gets purified. So there's no chance of committing Prajalpa if your tongue is already purified. And Kunti Devi really did this because everything she went through, she was always thinking, okay, how can I serve Krishna? How can Krishna always be with me? So then Bhagavad Gita 4.9, I thought really also connected to this verse. And Prabhupada also uses this in his Mayapur lecture on 1.8.21. Janma karma cha vevityam evam yo veti tatvatah tattva deham punarjanma naiti mam eti so ajna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my opinions and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So Kunti Devi, again, she really she didn't completely address him as her nephew, but she acknowledged him as like Bhagwan. She knew he was God, and she said that in the previous one, she said, fools cannot understand you. And so she really she knew that she was Bhagwan, and she knew that the transcendental nature of his appearance and activities, what they were, and the potency of that. So she really exemplified this shloka. That's what I thought when I read this. And today is the very auspicious occasion of Ashadi Ekadashi. So I wanted to say Ashadi Ekadashi is when the Lord goes to sleep. He goes into Yoga Nidra, and while the Lord seems to sleep, we awaken our bhakti. And so today we meditate on why Krishna is so uniquely merciful and accessible. In the next verse, it's on a lotus flower. Let me just get the verse. Kunti Devi gives us all an opportunity to become Krishna conscious simply by concentrating your mind on a lotus flower. That's all. Lotus flower. As soon as you see a lotus flower, you will immediately think of Namo Pankajanabhaya, Namo Pankajanmalini, Namo Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangale. Oh, Krishna's navel is just like a lotus flower. So, like Ashadhi Ekadashi, like Krishna is seeming to sleep, and we're supposed to look internally. We also, we have this chance to awaken our love for Krishna. And then Kunti Devi gives us an opportunity in the next verse to have the time to meditate on the Lord. And it's such an easy meditation as well, because we see like in India, there's so many lotus flowers blooming around. Like in the temple, if I go, I just see like lotus flowers, like decorations everywhere. And then it's just so easy to like think about Krishna. It becomes a stimulation for ecstatic love, as Gurudev says. So in Pandharpur, millions of people sing the names of the Lord, and Kunti Devi is doing the same thing over here. She is glorifying Krishna as Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Vasudev, and she's glorifying him very wonderfully. This verse is really, it sets an example for us. You know, we should not ask for anything and glorify the name, because in 6.3.22 of Srimad Bhagavatam it is given, devotional service beginning with the chanting of the holy names of the Lord is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in the human society of life. So these are just a couple points that I had in mind. I couldn't make it a very long thing because I don't have that many realizations yet. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm a little 10 minutes early, but if anyone has anything they want to add to this, please add. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tarini Mataji. Yeah, that was like point by point. The points that you collected, I think, yeah, it was a short one, but I think you're fast. Your presentation was quite fast, but I think the details that you gathered around both from Chaitanya Charitamrita as well as from Bhagavad Gita as well as from Bhagavatam, to reflect upon this particular verse, one of the most popular verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Okay. Devotees, we have some time. If you want to share, any of you want to share your realization, please do so. Like actually, this I was just thinking. There's so if we actually see the how Lord, rather the Pandavas are so attached and to the Lord. At the same time, Lord himself also is so attached to the Pandavas that he spent actually, if I'm right, it is some 87 years out of 125 years of his time with the Pandavas, right? So, and all of us, like, you know, the whole Vrindavan pastime, it was just 10 years and few months, right? So, yeah, so it is that actually kind of gives us an idea how the bonding between the Pandavas and Lord, and the kind of reciprocation Lord has towards the Pandavas, and like most of the time among the Pandavas he spends is with Arjuna. And it is not just this time. He in the Nar avatar also, Nar is Arjuna. So there is some previous history as well between Krishna and Arjuna, and yeah. So yes, okay. I'll let devotees to add more to this verse. Namadas Prabhu. Would you like to add some points? Hare Krishna. Yes, Pro, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you for giving me a chance to add on something. It was a wonderful class, Tarini, Kishori, Mataji. A very, I would say, condensed presentation. And of course, the prayers of Queen Kunti are one of my most favorite prayers out of the 108 or 105 prayers that are there in Bhagavatam. The very first prayers that start uh, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And what I've heard from the seniors is that they are the most ideal prayers for a sadhaka, our stage. She's starting with something, why Krishna is not visible. Everybody says we want to see God, and then she's accepting a humble position. And then now we are seeing at this point in the prayer, verse 21, she is glorifying the Lord, and surrendering unto pranam. Right? She's all offering obeisances. The pattern of most ideal prayers are like this. You first glorify the Lord. I'm reminded of Srila Gurudev when he gave a lecture on Draupadi's at Pandava Kund 2022. That was my first Kartik Yatra. And Srila Gurudev just mentioned that, when we have to pray to Krishna, the sign says that we don't need to tell him what we want. We can just simply glorify, and he knows what we want. So we begin by doing that. First surrender. And that's what Queen Kunti is doing. She's saying, actually, I heard there's a lecture recommendation I would like to give to everyone. There's one of my most favorite lectures of Srila Gurudev. It's called The Pure Love of Brajavasis. It's on the verse 1842 of the same set of prayers by Queen Kunti when she says Gange Voga Mudanvati, the end of the prayers. So Srila Gurudev is giving a very beautiful lecture, and in that he tells the gradation in the Vatsalyaras of Queen Kunti. So he tells the personality on the who has the most, it's the highest Vatsalyaras is Yashoda Mai, of course, no doubt on that. After her follows Nand Maharaj, and after Nand Maharaj, it's Devaki who gave birth to the Lord. And if we just try to guess who is next, we might say Vasudev, just by the going by the sequence and the pattern. But Srila Gurudev tells, quoting from a scripture, he says, it's actually Queen Kunti. She has even more Vatsalyaras than Vasudev. She's the aunt of the Lord. She has, more Vatsalya, more love for Krishna in Vatsalyaras in exchange. So that's what Queen Kunti is doing in this verse also. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur very nicely points out, right? Krishnaya Vasudevaya. So she first says that Vasudev is so fortunate. She does not mention herself, of course. So she's saying, Krishna, first you give Vasudev. If we just go up the list that I just mentioned, on fifth number we had Vasudev, right? So she's first mentioning Vasudev. Then she's mentioning, she of course doesn't mention herself, who's on fourth number. That's again humility. Devotee does not want to talk about themselves. Then she mentions Devaki, who's on number 3. And then she mentions Nand Maharaj on number 2, right? On Vatsalyaras. Well, somebody might question, where's Yashoda Mai? She's dedicated a separate verse. Everybody needs to just hang on and wait for a class on 1831. Sorry, 31 if I'm not wrong. Very beautiful verse. So yeah, this is a very beautiful prayer and a pranam mantra. Very close to my heart. Yeah, that's all. That's what I'd like to share.
Really. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, actually, this is specifically Nanda Maharaj, glorifying Nanda Maharaj, as well as again pointing out Srila Gurudev's calling out Queen Kunti as the who has the highest parental affection towards being the aunt, Buva. Being the aunt, she has the higher parental affection towards the Lord. And yes, so if I remember, yes, this is one of the verses I could memorize from Bhagavatam. This is the first verse I could memorize and very easy to memorize. And because it's all like a Lord's names. It is really okay. Any Aditya Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you. Mataji, the lecture was very crisp, and right from the very beginning, like you were giving references, like a lot of references, and you also gave a reference about cows and the relationship with Krishna he shares with Vrindavan cows. So when you were sharing the points there, it reminded me of a phrase which Guru Dev said when we were in Vihar 1. So in Vihar 1, we had like a lot of cows, and Srila Gurudev really did a very beautiful katha. He was speaking about the cows and the relationship with Krishna shares with all the cows. Srila Gurudev he also shared this point that the cows of this material world, they are the like the cousins of cows of spiritual world. So when you were giving references, it reminded me of that, and the way you were mentioning things, that was very relatable, especially that point when you shared your personal realization, that how Prabhuji he replied to you that the more we hear about Krishna, the more our tendency to get into prajalpa and things which are not that much necessary, it gets down. So that was very practical, and I always feel like I really need to hear more lectures and katha. So thank you, Mataji, for this lecture. And yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Nice point, Prabhu. I was hearing this phrase. Srila Prabhupada has specifically about hearing. Srila Prabhupada has named ISKCON, and it is all about Khan. ISKCON se sunna. So yeah, it's all about hearing. So it is like when we make connection with ISKCON, the initial feasting happens through the mouth. There are different things like chavana, chusna, so all that happens through the mouth. The charvanam happens through the mouth, and like the charvanam becomes shravanam, and the charvanam happens through the ears, and that's like how we spiritually progress. Yeah, and there is we can't become qualified and then hear. It is like make me a doctor and then I will start going to college, medical college first. So there is no what comes first here. So it is like you have to start hearing, and the Lord will go and sit on the heart, and he will cleanse the heart. And then the love for hearing will it'll increase, and then it is it's a slow progression. So, all right. Okay. Anyone has raised hand? Panchana Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Tarini, Kishori, Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful class. Uh, I I was just contemplating on the verse and what you spoke, and it was a very condensed version, just like Krishna here is also like in the verse he has a connection with cows, and I was just thinking about recently I was going through this Govindaji lecture series of Gurudev, and he was mentioning how Rupa Goswami he found Govindaji, and it was all just running in my mind. So I was just meditating on how these prayers are so special, because in Krishna consciousness, as Vijay Narasimha Prabhu just said, we always do Shravan, and then Shravan ke baad Kirtan aa jata hai. But sometimes we are just stuck on Shravan and Kirtan. But when we contemplate on the prayers of all these exalted devotees like Queen Kunti or Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, we are like going to that Vandanam stage. And then automatically, because we are going on the Vandanam stage, we are doing Vishnu Smaranam. So when we are just like sometimes I'm in the office and I'm just contemplating on some prayers, or my mother, she like made sure that I bahayed some verses of Bhagavatam. She used to like make me sit, and she used to be like, Panchajanya, you have to have these verses by heart. And initially I could not understand why she's so strict, but now that I just like sometimes I'm just sitting and I'm just contemplating on these verses, and automatically I can remember of Krishna. There is no like external thing required. It's very natural. It becomes natural, as you said. When we contemplate on Krishna, everything becomes very natural. At one point in time, bhakti becomes very spontaneous. That is what Gurudev says. So it was very wonderful to hear. And also, of course, I I was thinking that every time, like even when it is troopers call, or it is like we have the Saturday meeting sometimes. So devotees ask, oh, what chapter should we read? So again, like how Prabhupada has wonderfully given the translation and purport of this verse. It is all about Vrindavan. So how Prabhupada, I'm so grateful to Prabhupada that he has given us this Krishna book. And it is like, let it be like, I'm again trying to establish, I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong, but I always try to establish a relationship with whatever the verse or whatever Krishna's pastimes are, with something related to Gurudev. So as Krishna book is always nectarian, and Prabhupada just used to say, just read some random chapter, it's all sweet. Similarly, Gurudev's books are like, it's full on nectar. Wherever you just take a bite, you'll realize that it is like the highest thing which you could ever get. So yeah, that is what I wanted to share. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the sweet realization, Prabhu. It's like sugar candy, asking, from which side to start eating. So, very well. Okay. Very nectarian thoughts. So, anyone else would like to add? Okay. Okay. I have not shared. Okay. So if devotees are done, we will move on to reading diary chapter. Just give me a minute. I was trying to find something here. I have 2, 3.
Sorry, Praji, by the time you just start sharing the screen for our diary chapter, I just wanted to thank Tarini for like taking the class on such short notice. I could just realize that how wonderful speaker she is, just like her mom. Her mom also gives very nice Bhagavatam classes. And today I was talking to Mataji and she was like, someday mere ko bhi dena hai class. I was like, yes, definitely we can arrange a class. And for devotees who don't know, Tarini, Kishori Mataji is our god sister. She stays in Pune, and she's a very wonderful Vaishnavi, and she's very, very attached to Vrinda Devi. So she does every week, she goes and she does Vrinda Devi's dressing in our one of the senior Matajis in our congregation, and she has multiple deities at her house, like all deities, Gaurnitai, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Radha, Krishna, and she's very fascinated and attached to Gurudev. Whenever I have heard her like speaking about Gurudev, she's always going to cry. Like it cannot happen that she's speaking about Gurudev and she will not cry. So yeah, thank you so much for accepting this request, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me this chance.
Mataji, you're a student or?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm in grade 10 right now.
Really enjoy. All glories to you, all glories to your parents. Such engage you are giving Srimad Bhagavatam class. I didn't even know Srimad Bhagavatam exists at this age, at your age. All right. And we wish to have your association often on the Cooper's call. Okay. So we will proceed to the next section. I'm just posting the chapter. This is volume 8, chapter 13. Let me post that in the. So who's going to read today? It is Shivani Mataji. Let me post it in the chat box as well. And we have some big announcement coming at the end of this session. We're going to have some surprise next Sunday. So, yeah, request you to hold on till the end of this next section. Right. So, Mataji, would you be Shivani Mataji? Are you around? I'll give you 10 seconds to respond. Since there is a long queue of devotees who want to read. Okay. हरी हरी जय तदिया सेवा प्रभु।
उनसे पहले ज्योत्सना माता जी ने भी हैंड रेस किया।
कौन कौन?
मणिकंठा प्रभु, माय गॉड। एवरीवन वांट्स टू रीड डायरी।
Okay, I will let three of you to decide. Manikanta Prabhu, I think you read recently. So
Yes, was around 3 weeks ago. Yes.
yes. So Navjot Prabhu hasn't read. And Tadiya Seva Prabhu, thank you for yielding to us junior devotees. Or you still want to take a chance?
Let
I'll let
the
you
junior
decide.
devotees.
All right. Navjot Prabhu, do you like to read?
Lord Rosie, if no one is going to read, I'll read.
No, it's not no one going to read.
Then I will, Prabhuji. I can read.
Equal opportunity.
Tadiya Seva Prabhuji is going ahead. Maybe half we can read. Half Prabhuji can read. Half
No,
I can
Tadiya
read.
Seva Prabhu has mercifully given it up. Okay.
So I
So,
yield to junior devotees. It's okay.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll read them.
And I heard some
I'll share my
Mataji in
screen.
between. I didn't.
ज्योत्सना माता जी, ज्योत्सना माता जी।
Okay.
Okay,
Navjot
maybe
Prabhu,
we both
Jyotsna
can
Mataji. Yeah. It's a long chapter. So yeah, you can. Yes. You're going to share the screen?
I'll share my screen. Yeah, I'll share.
Please, yes, Prabhu. Very well.
Volume 8, Chapter 13, Just Wander by Indradumna Swami, November 15, December 1, 2007. By the time our Parikrama group of 250 devotees arrived in Jagannath Puri, there was only 1 week left of the auspicious month of Kartik. We had spent the first 3 weeks visiting holy places in Vrindavan and Mayapur. It had been intense. Traveling in India with so many devotees, facilities were not always the best. Large crowds in the holy places had made it difficult to move around. Nevertheless, we enjoyed it immensely as we had spent many days hearing the Lord's pastime and having extended bhajans in each and every sacred place. All of us were eager to visit Jagannath Puri as it is one of the holiest places in India and being on the shore of Indian Ocean, a very relaxing place. Upon arriving, a devotee asked shyly if he could swim in the sea. Oh, yes, I replied. Bathing in this ocean is transcendent. Lord Chaitanya bathed him in these waters. हरिदासे समुद्र जले स्नान कराइला प्रभु कहे समुद्र एई महातीर्थ हैला. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed the body of Haridas Thakur in the sea and then declared, from this day on, this sea has become a great pilgrimage site. Chaitanya Charitamrit, until 11.64. The day after our arrival, I spoke to our guide Madhavananda Das, a disciple of Gaur Govind Maharaj. Let's go on parikrama early in the morning, I said, so we can see as many holy places as possible before it gets too hot. Where would you like to go in particular? He asked. I thought for a moment, let's just wander around. I said, traveling in auto rickshaws. We arrived at a temple unknown to most ISKCON devotees. This is the sex originally installed by the great saint Srila Narottam Das Thakur at first Gaur Purnima festival in Bengal 400 years ago. I had visited the temple years ago in search for those famous deities, but the rest of the devotees were unaware of its existence. When we entered, we all paid our obeisances and went forward to the altar to take darshan. Before the deity, I spoke to the devotees This beautiful deity of Radhakanta, the deity of Rajamohan in Vrindavan, and the deity of Lord Chaitanya in Bengal are the only deities I have been able to trace out of the original six installed by Narottam Das Thakur. I've been searching for almost 20 years. As we sat down to have bhajan, one of the local priests who had overheard me came and began whispering in my ear, the chief priest here, who oversees the worship of Radha Kant, may be able to tell you whether the other three deities are. Where the other three deities are. He said, he is an old sadhu in his 80s and very learned in the Vaishnava tradition. Please, I said excitedly, can you arrange for me to meet him? Let me see, said the priest. As we began the bhajan, I looked at Kanta and prayed he would reveal where the other deities were being worshipped. 20 minutes later, as we continued to chant, the priest returned. Maharaj has agreed to meet you in 10 minutes, he said. He pointed to a small room near the altar, just over there, he said. A few minutes later, I moved quickly towards the room. 15 or 20 devotees followed me. Suddenly, the old sadhu appeared at the door. He was a rather large man with a serious expression, wearing only a linen cloth. He saw that we wouldn't all fit in his room, so he asked for a chair and sat down with us. We bowed and offered our respect, Maharaj. I said we are all devout followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus his devotee, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, is very dear to our hearts. We wanted to thank you and your disciples for taking such nice care of his deity, Radhakant. He looked at us curiously, as if he had never seen Western devotees before. What is that you admire in Sri Thakur Mahashay, Narottam Das Thakur? He said. His deep devotion to the Lord, I replied, as expressed in his works Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana, and the fact that he was a stalwart preacher of the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The old sadhu smiled and nodded his head in approval. We are doing our best to take care of Radhakant, he said. Nothing unless we office here, he continued with a smile. The devotees moved in closer. 500 years ago, Lord Nityananda visited this very place, which was only jungle at that time. He was joined by a group of children, and
Very
there,
well.
when Lord Chaitanya
Nagat
came
Prabhu,
here, yes,
um,
Prabhuji.
I think the internet is a bit flaky. So
Right,
maybe you
right.
can switch off your video. That way it will be easier. Yeah.
Later,
Go
when
ahead.
Lord Chaitanya came here, he declared that there are two places in Jagannath Puri where love of Godhead is easily available. The temple of Tota Gopinath and this spot where Lord Nityananda danced in ecstasy with the children. Some years later, when Narottam Das Thakur came here on pilgrimage, one of his disciples, Sevadas, asked if he could remain and perform bhajan. Sometime later, Narottam ordered that Radhakant be sent here to be worshipped by Sevadas. The sadhu fell silent. I felt it was the right time to ask my question. Maharaj, I said after the departure of Lord Chaitanya, Radhakant was installed by Narottam Das Thakur, the famous Keturi festival in Bengal. Along with five other deities, one was the golden deity of Lord Chaitanya, who is now being worshipped in a village north of Kolkata. Among the other four deities of Krishna, one Vrajamohan is presently being worshipped in Vrindavan. Do you know where the other three deities are? The sadhu looked surprised. You know these things, he said. I've been trying to find these deities for 20 years. I replied when I chanted one of my favorite mantras with the name of all six Gauranga Vallabhi Kanta, Shri Krishna Vraja Mohan, Radha Raman He Radhe, Radha Kanta Namostute. The sadhu's eyes opened wide. I know where they are, he said softly. I couldn't believe my ears. Maharaj, I said, please tell us where they can be found. He began slowly, as you stated. He said, Gauranga is being worshipped in Bengal at the ancestral home of Ganga Narayan Chakravarti, the chief disciple of Narottam Das Thakur. Vallabhi Kanta is being served in a temple in Dwarka. Though I am not sure of his exact whereabouts, Sri Krishna was worshipped by a king in East Bengal for some time and later given to a Brahmin family. It would take more research to find where he is now. You mentioned that Vrajamohan is worshipped in Vrindavan. I have heard that Radharaman is also being served somewhere there as well. And of course, Radhakanta is here, he said. You may be surprised to learn that out of the 6 deities that Narottam installed, Radhakanta was personally worshipped by him for the remainder of his life. I sat there stunned in a one minute. 20 years of research had borne fruit. After 11 years, we thanked the sadhu profusely, paid our obeisances, and left. We walked out of the temple and started down the street. Maharaj. Madhvananda said, I have another amazing place to take the devotees. I shook my head. Then, what we just experienced. I, I said, Madhvananda smiled. A long lost temple, he said. It was discovered not long ago, right in the heart of Jagannath Puri. A lost temple? I said, how could a temple be lost in the middle of Jagannath Puri? As we walked along, Madhvananda told the story to me. 500 years ago, he began. When Lord Chaitanya was living in Puri, we stayed at the house of his devotee Kashi Mishra. That house, which is still standing, later became the famous Gambhira temple, where Kashi Mishra's personal deities of Radhakanta were worshipped. Because of this, because of the strictness of the culture at the time, women were not allowed to render personal service to temple deities. But Kashi Mishra's wife had a strong desire to serve the Lord in his deity form. So her husband arranged a beautiful set of Radha Krishna deities for her to worship in her very own personal temple, which he had built. Throughout most of her life, she served those deities with great devotion. Unfortunately, as centuries passed, that small temple was abandoned and fell into disrepair. How could a sacred temple be abandoned? I said. Madhvananda shook his head. Kali Yuga, he said. 2 years ago, he had a dream in which the deities of Kashi Mishra's wife had appeared to him. We are standing under water. The Pujari awoke with a start. He gathered some friends and tools and they ran to the place indicated by the Pujari. It was a place where people had been throwing their garbage over a wall into neglected jungle area for years. They climbed up the wall and over a huge pile of refuse and they spotted an area thick with trees and vines. They chopped away and discovered the ruins of small temple. When they forced open the door, a flood of water poured out. When they walked in, they were stunned to see large deities of Radha and Krishna standing on the altar. It took weeks to restore the deities to their original beauty after the area was cleaned nicely and the temple rebuilt. The worship of Radha and Krishna began again. Mataji, would you like to continue from here?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. That's another amazing story, I said. I thought things like that only happened in previous ages. I can't wait to see those deities, and I would really love to meet that pujari. Just as I spoke, we reached the old temple on the edge of a sprawling neighborhood. I walked in, quickly paid my obeisance to the deities, and stood before them reverentially, appreciating their beauty and their pastime of revealing themselves to the world again. As the devotees sat down to hear Madhvanda relate the pastime, I walked behind the temple with Gaura Haridas to chant Gayatri Mantra in a quiet place. We were accompanied by a young man, a resident of Puri, who was helping us with translations that day. Just as we had finished Gayatri, I saw an old man come out of a room in a small building adjacent to the temple. I was immediately attracted by his saintly appearance, and I spontaneously offered obeisance to him. I got up and started walking towards him. Who is this blissful sadhu? I said to our translator. He is obviously old, but appears youthful by his effulgent countenance. The translator stood with palms joined, looking at the sadhu. This is the pujari who had the dream about the deities in this temple, he said. Out of love for them, he now resides nearby. I couldn't believe our good fortune. Bowing before the sadhu, I asked him to put his hands on my head and bless me. Like all Vaishnavas, he was of merciful nature, smiling broadly. He put his two hands firmly on my head and said loudly, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Kevalam, Kalau Naste, Eva Naste, Eva Gatir Anatya. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of holy names of our Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Brahmaradya Puran 3:8-26. I thanked him again and again. For the second time that morning, I found myself expressing deep gratitude to a saintly person. We paid our obeisance again and returned to our group of devotees. As the devotees sat spellbound, hearing Madhvanda's narration, I turned to Gaurahari. Since we have already heard the story, I said, let's take our translator and wander around the neighborhood to see what we can see. We walked outside and turned down a narrow street. Our translator told us we were in an old part of town where the Brahmins from the main temple lived with their families. As we walked along, I was awestruck by the antiquity of surroundings. As we rounded a corner, we saw an old woman sitting on the porch of her house eating prasadam from a small clay bowl on the ground. She was taking each bite slowly with a deep respect. That's a great photo, I said to Gaurahari as I took out my camera and photographed her. Just then, a man who appeared to be in his late 60s came out of the house. Seeing us, he immediately smiled. He was dressed in a dhoti with a small chadar over his neck and its brahmana thread draped over his shoulder. That's my mother, he said. She is honoring Lord Jagannath Prasadam. He is one of the chief priests in the temple, our translator said softly. Every day he receives some prasadam that has been offered to Lord Jagannath on a special golden plate. The prasadam is prepared separately and by the best cook in the temple. The priest came over to speak to us. Are you Vaishnavas? He said. Yes, Maharaj, I replied. By the mercy of our spiritual masters, we are the servants of our Lord. We have come to Jagannath Puri on parikrama with a large group of devotees from the west. He stood for a moment observing us and then quietly turned and walked up onto the porch where his mother was taking prasadam. He reached down respectfully, took some of the prasadam in his hand, and walked back to where we were standing. Then he reached out and put some of the prasadam in our hands. Taken aback by his generosity, we stood there not knowing what to do next. He smiled again. Take prasadam, he said. Looking at his mother, who continued to relish the prasadam on her plate, I put Lord Jagannath's prasadam in my mouth with as much as devotion as I could muster. I have never tasted anything like this in my entire life, I said to Gaurhari. It is heavenly. As the Brahmana went back to his duties, we found ourselves bowing down and once again thanking a sadhu for his kindness upon us. This is the merciful of this holy dharma, is Dhamma, I said to Gaurahari as we walked back to meet our party. The sadhus who live here kindly share their good fortune with others. That is why we must visit such holy place as many times as we can during our lifetime. I agree, Gaurahari said enthusiastically. Experiences like we are having today in Jagannath Puri, I said, gave me faith that one day I might even attain the rarest treasure of love of God. As we walked down the road, I remembered a beautiful verse. Idam sena bhagyam bhavati sulabham yena yuvayas chatapya ashe premana sprutena hi suptava api mama padhartesmin yasmad vrajam anu anunaivaishane janatis tathapi asa bandha parivarda varumam dradayati. The splendor of pure love, which makes the good fortune of direct service to you easy to obtain, is not mine, even in dreams. Still, O king and queen, simply living in your vraja gives me a great hope. Ottalika Valari, verse 64. We met up with our parikrama group and started back in the direction where we were staying. When we reached Sapta Rishi Road, not far from our destination, I took the devotees to the temple of Jagadanand Pandit, another important associate of Lord Chaitanya. In the temple, I spoke to the devotees. Jagadanand Pandit wrote a book called Prema Vivarta, in which he analyzes the subject matter of divine love in great detail. Kavirajya Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, जगदानंद्रे प्रेम विवता सुनैयै जान प्रेमार स्वरूप जाने पाय प्रेम धन. Anyone who hears about the loving exchange between Jagdanand Pandit and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or who reads Jagdanand book's Prema Vivarta, can understand what love is. Moreover, he achieves ecstatic love of Krishna. It is something we hope to achieve in the future, I said with a smile. After we were successful in conquering over our material desires, now let's proceed back to our ashram. I kept it short. I could see the devotees were getting tired. As we were leaving the temple, I looked across the road and saw the famous temple of Brahmananda Bharati Maharaj, another great associate of Lord Chaitanya. The temple was undergoing renovation and I was so curious to see the work. So I took the hand of my disciple Narottam Das Thakur Das, and we ducked under the scaffolding and went inside. The temple is 500 years old and looks every bit of its antiquity. There were no windows or lighting inside, but with the sun filtering through the entrance, we could see very beautiful deities of Radha and Krishna on the altar. These were the personal deities of Brahmananda Bharati Maharaj, said a pujari coming in from behind us. With the help of several ISKCON devotees, we are renovating the temple to its original glory. Let me show you the Shaligram Shilas that have been worshipped here since the time of a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went onto the altar, picked up a wooden box full of Shilas, and brought them forward right before our eyes. They are very beautiful, I said. Suddenly, I noticed a small black stone with a beautiful white line circling around it several times. That's a Shiva Lingam, Lord Shiva himself, I whispered to Narottam Das. Previously, sadhus worshipped Shiva in that form. Nowadays, you only see such lingams in temples. They are very rare. I paused for a moment. I have always longed to have one, I said. to complete the worship on my altar. But why would we, as devotee of Krishna, worship Lord Shiva? Narottam said. Asked. Shastra says he is the greatest Vaishnava, I replied. And only by the mercy of Vaishnavas can we serve the Supreme Lord. I quoted Bhakti Ratnakara. Srimad Gopeshwaram Vande Sankaram Karunamayam Sarvaklesha Haram Devam Vrinda Ranaya Rati Pradam. I offer my respectful obeisance to Gopeshwara, who is Lord Shiva himself. He is very merciful, removes all the troubles, and grants spiritual love in Vrindavan. I looked longingly at the Shila, but I won't ask for it. I thought, maybe another time. The Pujari probably wouldn't give him to me anyway. I thanked the Pujari for the special darshan and turned the Noratam. Let's go, I said. The front entrance was closed, so I walked carefully through the darkness towards the door. When I found the handle, I turned it and walked out in the bright sunshine. I gathered the devotees and spoke for some time about Brahmananda Bharati Maharaj and then announced that we would continue back to our ashram. Suddenly I realized Narottam wasn't there. Where is Narottam? I asked the devotees. Just at that moment, he appeared. Sorry, I'm late, Guru Maharaj, he said. He paused. But I don't think you will mind, he continued, because I have something very special for you. He put the beautiful Shivalingam in my hand. Narottam, I said. How did you get him? It was simple, he replied. I told the Pujari that it was you and some of your disciples who have been the main contributors in renovating the temple over the years. When he heard that, he gave the Shila with gratitude and love. That night at the ashram, I remembered something said by the Srila Prabhupada's disciple Madhvendra Das in an interview with Yadurba Das. He was talking about Srila Prabhupada's 1971 parikrama of Vrindavan with his Western disciples. When we arrived in Vrindavan, I remember walking into Prabhupada's room and offering my obeisance. I said, Srila Prabhupada, what should we do now? He looked down at me and said, just wander. Hari Bol. Jesus.
Hari. Such beautiful chapter, actually. Thank you so much, Mataji and Navjot Prabhu, for reading this. Yeah. So, who all are, okay, I posted a question there in the chat box. If you see, like, which is one of the services that is impossible to take part in during Kartik Parikrama. Please raise your hand if you know the answer. Yes, Namras Prabhu.
Sound system.
Sound system. Okay, bingo. All right. So, okay. So before that, how many devotees are, here who are part of the our gathering today are had already registered or planning to register for Kartik Parikrama. The dates have been announced. The Mayapur segment and Calcutta and Jagannath Puri segment has also been announced. Okay. 7 or 6 actually. Okay, we have more. I hope the others are also maybe are not okay. Yes. Yeah. This is going to be one of the, of course, all Srila Gurudev's parikramas are out of the world. And like, this is happening just for second time in the entire history of our Kartik parikrama. So it will be like you want to, I mean, so we, from our temple, from our Bangalore temple, we went to Jagannath Puri, and probably, I mean, we have been going with our devotee friends and all, right? So we will hardly cover 5% of what Jagannath Puri is. Okay, we'll get to know only 5% of what Jagannath Puri is. You know how Srila Gurudev does the yatras, right? It is impossible. Like even the people living in Jagannath Puri will not know the places that Srila Gurudev will know in Jagannath Puri. The places that exist in their neighborhood, they'll not know that Srila Gurudev will discover and show it to them. So that is how it will be when you are with Srila Gurudev. Okay. So you miss it at your own loss for this lifetime, or your, yeah, I mean, anything. So, okay. So rethink about your October, November plans. This was just a glimpse. This class, this diary chapter was just a glimpse, and some shloka walas, as Srila Gurudev favorably says, can actually create a falashruti for this diary chapter. Just to hear this diary chapter, there should be some, falashruti, because we heard a very beautiful pastime where, the temple of Kashi Mishra's wife was actually discovered. So that's such a, some glorious pastimes we are hearing here. Okay, and how Srila Gurudev, the Shivalinga he has with him, and how Srila Gurudev, how the lingam arrived on the altar of Srila Gurudev. So there should be definitely some falashruti for hearing this nectarium pastime, right? So this is just a glimpse, and so in years have passed. How many years? Almost 20 years have passed. Imagine what Srila Gurudev will have in his, secret joli. Okay, so he's going to pour all of that onto his disciples. So please don't miss. I humbly request not to miss Kartik Parikrama. Okay. All right. Now, coming to the other part, yes. Devotees who have been part of our Parikrama, Kartik Parikrama continuously, and who have been continuously serving and looking forward to serve in many services, they have they always realize it is very difficult to forget about getting service. इसके sound system के आगे पीछे जाना भी थोड़ा danger से भरा हुआ है. This is a danger zone. The speaker zone is always the sound system is a danger zone. You don't even like cross paths with one special devotee, and his name is His Grace Dvijavara Prabhu. Okay, and of course playing kartals also. Yeah, true. But so Dvijara Prabhu is the planet's most renowned sound engineer of this Earth planet, and he is with Srila Gurudev, and he'll give his life, and he'll not give away that service to anyone in this lifetime, and the next, and the next. Okay, so we all hear like those. Like it is not just Kartik Parikrama. He covers even he was there even during the Sadhu Sangha. So all of us will get Prabhuji's association next Sunday. Okay. So that's the announcement. Okay. So Prabhuji will be there on our Sunday session, and it will be and I would like to say a big thank you to our Rajapati Sutta Prabhu. He is the only mole that the Indian disciples have ever been managed to creep into the sound system area. He's so because of Rajapati Sutta Prabhu, we have been able to contact Prabhu, and he has kindly agreed. And please post in your local channels as well. And we're going to have these praise Dvijara Prabhu, and hopefully let's see if Mataji as well joins. But yes, okay. All right. Anyone does not know. Anyone does not know Prabhuji. I mean, I'm sure there could be some devotees who have not been part of any of the yatras, have not seen. But yeah, true. But you will get to know next Sunday. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone wants to speak, share anything? Or we will wind up today's wonderful session of hearing and glorifying. And very importantly, when you join for the next Sunday session, kindly remember to turn on your cameras. So, all right. Thank you so much for joining our Sunday session, and sure you'll all be waiting for the next Sunday. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. The Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev.
Yeah.